If your drive off the tee looks something like this, wait for it, wait for it. Oh. Then today is finally the day we fix your slice. And trust me, I know what it feels like. Losing balls, losing distance, keeping the driver in the bag and opting for a 3-wood or an iron. Like, golf's just hard when you're hitting a slice. But trust me, it's easier to fix than you think. And now it's revolutionizing my golf game. For the simple fact, I can choose how I hit the driver. So when it comes to breaking down your slice, there are 3 main elements: club path, club face, and setup. The first one we're going to go through is club path, because I feel like this is the one that could probably stop you from slicing near enough every club in your bag. And I actually think it'll add distance to every club also. Okay, so the first thing that a lot of people aren't doing is actually using their hips. A lot of amateur golfers, a lot of higher handicappers do not use the bigger muscles in our swing, meaning our hips and our legs. What they are doing is just pretty much swinging with their arms, dare I say it, being a bit lazy with the lower body, and that means that naturally then their club path tends to be in to out, causing a massive slice. And all that happens is with an iron you can get away with it, but with the driver being so long, with the degree on the face, it just exaggerates the errors in your swing, which is why you've got to correct that first. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what not moving your body looks like, okay? So if I'm just setting up for a driver like an average person, you know, because you slice it, you're probably aiming a little bit left. And because you're not using and actually rotating your hips, you tend to find that your swing looks something like that. Now look, this is probably going to go straight left because I've actually got my club face quite square, but that's something we're going to work on in a second. But the key thing we've got to realise is my club path is 14.2 left. And the reason being is because I haven't moved my hips, I've had to come over the top and use a lot of my arms during my swing just to generate a bit of power. So the first thing that we're massively going to work on is actually just moving our hips back and rotating them in our backswing. That's literally it. Sounds so simple, right? But if we actually rotate our hips back and properly in our backswing, the chances are we're actually going to rotate our hips through when we come in our downswing. And this naturally then sets the club in a better position. Just think, my hips start to come forward, and look where my club path comes. It actually comes on plane, if not slightly inside, to actually hit through the golf ball properly. Now, my coach Lee actually got me to do this with a Bosu ball off a wall, just placing the ball behind me and literally practicing feeling my hips rotate against the ball. So if you're in the gym, if you've got a Bosu ball with you, probably the only drill I'd say it's actually useful for in the gym, is just getting a feeling that this back hip sinks completely back. Your back pocket goes towards the wall, you fully rotate them hips, so then you're in a great position to then move forward. All of a sudden, you're going to have a lot more power, and you're going to find your club path's going to be a lot straighter. That was actually a lot to do with my face angle there, but you'll find you're actually going to maybe hit a draw, but a much straighter shot that's not going to feel like it's massively swinging towards that right side, or if you're a left-hander, towards the left. Now that was a pretty poor example, so I'm going to actually fully swing at this one. It was all right. Club face slightly closed, but as you can see, it's a lot better than a big slice, and it's traveling a lot further. By the way, if you're actually struggling to rotate your hips, the chances are it's probably like a mobility, flexibility, body issue, which means I would recommend getting yourself a PT. Oh wait, I'm an online PT, and I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years. So guess what? If you want to actually be coached by me, there's an application down below. Go check it out. I'd love to get you in shape for golf. Yeah, let's do it. So now we've sorted your club path, it's all about sorting your face angle and where it's going throughout the ball. Now what you'll find with someone who typically slices the ball, and what I definitely used to do, is I would have my face either really flipping open through the ball, which is why I get that big massive slice, or I then actually square it up and get it more or less shut, and I get a massive pull that's completely dead. Pretty much both shots are not what we want. But now we've sorted the club path, we need to try and get this face as neutral as we can, and ideally trying to keep it nice and square to the ball as long as possible. Now that can go into loads of different things in terms of grip, in terms of how we hold the club, but I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. And first thing you're going to look at is where your club face is at the top of your swing. If it's something like this, you are massively opening up the club in your backswing, okay? Look at it coming through the ball. That way, yeah? If you're coming through the ball like this, there's only one place that the ball's going, and that's straight right. Now, we ideally want to take it somewhere neutral. Some players on tour, Dustin Johnson, like that, even Morikawa, they tend to have a stronger grip. All right, I've talked about this before in previous videos, if you want to go check it out. This stronger left hand has massively helped me boost my ball striking, and it's something I use a little bit in the driver. Not as much, but a little bit. And that's just having this club face a little bit more neutral. So then guess what? When I actually bring it back down, it's completely square to my target. This is something that I practice a lot with my top position, even when I swing, right? But just thinking, right, I'm letting my right hip go back, I'm practicing that new technique, and I'm looking at where actually is my club. Right, that's exactly where I want it to be. If yours is something like that, you know you've got a bit to work on, okay? And it's just, all I want you to then think about when you're then coming through the ball is, can I have a feeling that I'm keeping this face more or less neutral? And what you'll find is you're naturally going to get yourself in the position. You're naturally going to have a bit more lag on the club, don't worry. You're not going to come through the club like this. It's not going to happen. But you're naturally going to feel like you're just going to let the bigger muscles do the work, let them hips rotate, and then move through. And naturally, you should find that your face angle, that's it, 1.0, don't get much better than that, is as square as it needs to be. But now you've actually got your club path right, you find that you're not going to manipulate, not going to need to manipulate the face as much as you thought you needed to. So all it's going to be about is, can I keep this nice and square as long as possible through the ball to make sure I get a nice, consistent strike. So we've kind of fixed the parts in our swing. We fixed the club path, we fixed the face angle, and now we're going to go through arguably one of the most important things, and that is setup. Because if your setup is shit, you're probably going to hit it shit. And what most people don't do when it comes to the driver is take into account that this is a completely different club to the rest in their bag, and it requires a very different setup. One of the main reasons most people can't hit the driver that well is they are still hitting it like it's an iron, when it's actually completely different. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is how, if you've adjusted your club path, you've adjusted your face angle, you need to now start to have confidence in yourself that you no longer need to aim left. That's right, get ballsy and actually aim straight or aim right. You don't need to aim left anymore, unless you're literally pearling that lovely little tour fade like a lot of golfers do, which you might build confidence for and do. Don't be massively aiming left anymore. There's no need for that. Make sure your stance is nice and square and aiming down the middle of the fairway, or like I said, the location that you want the ball to go. Now, the first thing is ball position. So many people, and this is one of the biggest reasons most people slice the ball, right, is they are hitting down on their driver, okay? They are not keeping their body behind the ball and coming through the ball like this. Yeah, look at that lovely club path, right? What they are doing is hitting the driver like they're iron. They're coming over here and they're moving their body in front of the ball. Now look at that club face, right? Look how steep it is. What's that going to do? That's going to generate more spin on the ball. 9 times out of 10, if it's going to generate more spin on the ball and you're coming ahead of the ball, you're actually then going to create a bit more of that right to leg club path, which then creates more spin moving to the right. Or when you keep that face really short, you're literally going to pull it straight into the bush. Again, we don't want that. So all we're going to first of all focus on is, one, make sure the ball is in line with your front foot heel, okay? Big part. So naturally, This should mean, normally where you have an iron sort of middle of the stance, along the iron a bit further, you're now getting as far forward as you can. And you should naturally feel your weight a bit more on your back foot. Shoulders aiming up. Where do you want the ball to go? You want to launch it and you want to hit up on the ball, which means it's no good our shoulders being like this. It's no good us feeling like we're playing on the front foot no more. We're not, we're playing on the back foot, which means get them shoulders aiming up like we want to hit up. All right, and the big feeling I want you to now feel is that you actually take all your weight back here. Hey, what do we talk about? Keep the weight back, keep it rotate. See how it all interlinks, yeah? You're taking that weight back, and as you come through the ball, you're actually gonna try and keep your head behind the ball. All the best golfers keep their head behind the ball when they drive it. This is actually something I really struggled with not too long ago. Like, one of the first things that Lee, my golf coach, did with me was like, right, your head's in front of the ball. Because I'm a slider, I'm a front foot golfer, right? I love being steep. I love getting a lot of spin on the ball, but you can't do that with a driver. You can't do it. You're not gonna be accurate. You're just gonna create such a little margin for error when it comes to your swing. And that's why you probably slice it as well. So all we're gonna think about, ball inside the heel, create a bit more weight on our back foot, shoulders aiming up. And as we swing again, just what we've practiced, rotate the hips, keep our weight behind, and then drive through. And again, I think that was absolutely money. Oh, well, wasn't that lovely? I mean, that is a frozen rope if I've ever seen one. But look, the setup is key. If you're not setting up right for your driver, you're never going to be able to hit it how you want to. And I think so many people just sleep on the basics of just having a consistent setup to make sure you're hitting consistent shots, to make sure you're getting what you want out of your driver. And honestly, those three things have been absolutely revolutionary for my golf game. I still slice it now and then. You're not completely cured. It doesn't work like that, yeah? You're still gonna slice it now and then. But what you will find is you will get more and more consistent. Slowly but surely, the slices will leave your game. You're not gonna just, like I said, you're not gonna all of a sudden just not be able to slice it. Even the best players on tour still slice the ball. But the point is, you should be able to now actually hit a really straight shot with your driver. Focus on that, keep practicing that, and that's how eventually you're gonna bring your score down, stop losing balls, and actually gain a lot of distance. Because once you get that club face square, you start actually using your hips, you get your club path right, this thing's actually gonna be the weapon that you want it to be. So look, I hope you found that really useful. Make sure you destroy the like button if you really enjoyed it. You know, if you want to see more of this face, please subscribe. I will be getting out on the golf course soon. I can't wait to hit some bombs. And of course, I'll see you on the next.